Okay, this is the Shadow Ranger, and I want to talk a little bit about TNA Turning Point on pay-per-view this Sunday. I tried to order Bound for Glory last year using the video on demand service. I'm able to since I live outside of the United States. I actually live in South Korea, and this is one of the countries you can order the pay-per-views and stream them on the internet for $10. And I had ordered Bound for Glory, and there was a technical difficulties with it, so they had to cancel it. But I've been told that it's okay now, so I'm going to order Turning Point. So let's go down the card. I'm reading the matches listed on the TNA website. So, starting from the bottom, Abyss versus the Pope in a lumberjack match, and the Pope's congregation will be the lumberjacks. So I'm assuming it's the fans. So this may be like the fans revenge matches that TNA used to do. Either way, I see this being the first. Seeing as this is going to be the first pay-per-view with Immortal in charge, I'm predicting that most of the guys in Immortal will go over. But this match I actually would think will be the exception. I am going to pick the Pope to win. I think TNA is going to go with the Pope as the main babyface who is going to, like, I think they eventually plan on Pope being the one to take the world title from Jeff Hardy, and he's got to take down Fortune. I can see them doing some sort of match later with Pope and Abyss where maybe Pope gets rid of Abyss. Because a few weeks ago they was talking about this, and it seemed like they were going to either do like a casket match or what they called the last rites match, but they did this instead. So maybe they saved the casket match for later. Because I could see maybe like Pope beating Abyss in a casket match, locking him in a casket, and like, you know, load the casket in the back of like a truck or a hearse, and it drives off with Abyss, and we don't see Abyss again for a long time. So Pope has gotten rid of Abyss, so now he can go after Fortune and the rest of Immortal. But either way, I'm picking Pope to win this match. Next, Mickie James versus Tara. They decided to make up this odd storyline where Tara blames Mickie James because she says Mickie got her fired from WWE. I don't get it. It's an odd angle that you didn't need. You had good enough with when Tara laid down for Madison that Mickie was angry about it and said it was disrespectful, and that maybe, you know, Tara's just protecting Madison because she wouldn't be in TNA because Madison retired her, but Madison brought her back, so maybe she just feels some allegiance to Madison for a while. That was good enough. She's kind of playing Madison's lackey in a way, so that Mickie has to get through her to get to Madison. That seemed good enough. I don't know why they made up this whole "she got me fired from WWE" thing. It seems like it's just unnecessary. It feels like I still worry that TNA is going to hotshot the women's title to Mickie just as soon as possible. And I kind of feel like the only reason they're doing this match instead of the title match is just so we can't say, oh, they put the belt on Mickie her first match in. Like, I think they're doing this match just so we can't say that. And that the very, like, next pay-per-view, she's going to get the title shot against Madison and win. I still stand by my prediction that the first title shot Mickie James gets, she will win the Knockouts title. I don't think they're going to really do much to make her work for it. While I hope that Tara wins this match, I think it will be better, because just to show that Mickie has to work for it, she just, you know, make her work for that title. Don't just give it to her that so easily. And while I think it would be better if Tara won, I'm picking Mickie James to win. Tara's just going to be her speed bump on her way to Madison reigning the belt. Don't like it, but I think that's what's going to happen. Tommy Dreamer versus Rob Van Dam. They've done this storyline with Rob Van Dam where Eric Bischoff has gotten into his head, making him think that somebody's in EV2 is a mole, and Now RVD isn't sure if he can trust the people who thought was his friends, because Jeff Hardy was his friend. He trusted Jeff Hardy, and see where that got him. If they're going to go with this storyline of Rob Van Dam being suspicious, Tommy Dreamer should win, and I think that's what will happen. I could easily see a member, someone from Immortal, helping Tommy Dreamer win to make Rob Van Dam think that, oh, Tommy Dreamer's the mole. He's part of Immortal. He's trying to screw me over. So I'm picking Tommy Dreamer. This is the match I have the least amount of interest in, however. I'm really not interested in Rob Van Dam or Tommy Dreamer. Nothing either guy does really interest me. Jeff Jarrett versus Samoa Joe. Jeff Jarrett screwed Joe over at Bound for Glory. He used them to keep Joe out of the way as part of the plan. He attacked Joe with his security, Gunner and Murphy. It's been a simple storyline. Didn't really need to be too complicated. There's also the Kurt Angle factor being in there somewhere. Well, I think that Joe needs this win a little more, just because of how he hasn't looked very strong for the past little while. I think the other members of Immortal are gonna win, since it's like their first pay-per-view is them in charge. So I only expect one of them to lose, and I think the one person in Immortal who's gonna lose this pay-per-view is Abyss. So I am going to pick Jeff Jarrett, and I think Kurt Angle will somehow get involved. I'm not sure if this is just a tag or an elimination. This is EV2 versus Fortune. Fortune team, I believe, is going to be AJ, Kaz, and Bear Money, and the EV2 will be Stevie, Raven, Sabu, and Rhino. The stipulation of this match is that the winning team gets to fire a member of the losing team. So one member of the losing team is out of TNA, and the winning team gets to choose. I can't see any of the guys in Fortune leaving TNA right now, so there's got to be a member of EV2 who's leaving. So I'm picking Fortune to win, and I'll say either Rhino or Sabu will be fired. What I think would really be some heat getting for him is if Fortune wins, and then on Impact they make the four guys have a four-way match, and where the person who gets pinned is fired. So instead of them choosing who's fired, they make EV2, they force EV2 to eliminate one of their own, and like have Fortune out there at ringside just cheering on the match. I think that would get a good bit of heat. X Division Championship, Robbie E versus Jay Lethal. So all the people who have been hating on Robbie E for no good reason, saying the guy shit when he's only had 2 matches, 2 short television matches, even one was a hardcore match, you haven't had enough of a chance to really judge his wrestling ability. But you'll get the chance now. Now, I defended Robbie E because I felt like people were just trashing this guy for no good reason. Well, this is his time to chance to prove himself. I imagine this match will get a good 10 to 12 minutes, and if he stinks up the place, I will come on here and say he stunk up the place. But at least you'll have enough to go with to judge him on. This was a little tough. While I don't think it would be good for Jay Lethal to lose the title so soon, at the same time they've invested a lot into this Robbie E character. I mean, they've invested $15 grand and bring in mainstream celebrities to help get this thing over, and I feel like at some point he is going to win that title, but I worry that right now is a bit too soon. I think there's a little more you could do if he chases a little bit. So I'm picking Jay Lethal. Tag team title match: Team 3D versus the Machine Guns. This has been billed as the Team 3D's retirement match. They said after this match they retire. They either retire as champions or they don't. And what I've heard people suggest, because there's reports that Team 3D has signed a new contract with TNA, but it didn't say that they're going to sign like talent contracts or if it's going to be like backstage or something. But I've heard more than one person suggest that this may be an angle where Team 3D just lied, that they're going to cheat and beat the Machine Guns and take the belts and just say, you know, you two punks are stupid, we lied, we're not really retiring, we just said that so you'd give us the title match. And while I've heard some people suggest this and say that they think it would be really dumb, I've heard others suggest that would actually be very interesting to them. Like, they would actually like this angle more if it's that. If Team 3D cheats and wins the belt to say, you know, we're not really retiring, we just made that up. Well, some people said it would be idiotic. I'm not sure on this one. I think that would be an odd angle, but I don't know how much you could really do after it. Like, they got the belts and the Machine Guns chase them, and then at some point the Machine Guns get the belts back and that's it. Like, I don't see anything compelling to do after Team 3D won the belts if they go with that angle. I think that isn't going to be a swerve. That maybe Team 3D is going to be doing some type of backstage role in TNA. But either way, I'm picking the Machine Guns to win, just because I think the Machine Guns title reign, there's a lot more to do with them as champions. Like, I think there's more ground for them to cover. And I think that it's about time you kind of start trying to put together a few other teams for them to feud with. While TNA has a good tag team division, I still think there's room in TNA for maybe 2 or 3 more teams. But anyway, I'm picking the Machine Guns. And the world title match, Matt Morgan versus Jeff Hardy. And I've heard people pan this match, but I feel like their reasons really don't matter. Like, they said that, you know, you haven't done enough to make Matt Morgan look good, and that, you know, he did this face turn, but that he lost the match to Jeff Jarrett last week. But I ask, does it really matter? Does it really matter how well you made Matt Morgan look? Even if Matt Morgan had been on a tear for like the past 2 months, just destroying people left and right, would anybody, is there anything that TNA could do storyline wise that would make you think that Matt Morgan that Jeff Hardy might lose this title at Turning Point? There's nothing. I can't think of one angle or storyline that anybody could have done that would actually make you think it's possible Jeff Hardy's gonna lose. He just won the title at Bound for Glory in the big, huge swerve that nobody saw coming. He's the corporate champion now, and he's gonna keep that belt for a while. I would be shocked if Jeff loses that belt. Let's see, this is November, December, January. I'd be shocked if Jeff loses this belt before lockdown. Be honest. I at least lockdown. If Jeff loses this belt before lockdown, I'll be shocked. Unless something happens with his legal situation. That's the only thing I could see him losing that belt. Injury or his legal situation. If he doesn't get injured and his legal situation doesn't go bad and he ends up having to do some time or something, if outside of those two things, he's not losing his belt. He's champ to at least lockdown. I don't care how well they build a guy up. Nobody's taking this belt from Jeff. They were going to cheat. Hogan and Bischoff are going to bend the rules, change the rules to make sure that their hand-picked puppet champion, their corporate champion, keeps that belt. Remember, just think back to how Vince McMahon used to bend the rules to help The Rock keep the belt when he was the corporate champion. It's going to be the same thing with Jeff Hardy. So it doesn't really matter how they portray Matt Morgan. He wasn't gonna win anyway. So, those are my predictions for Turning Point. Leave your comments at the bottom or make a video response. Respectable comments only, please. I don't have time to hear anybody childish insults or stuff. Alright, so I've been talking for too long. That is my video. See you all later. Have a nice night.